Okay, so 501, and let's see if we can get some things started here. We've got a little bit of a delay here on my camera. All right, so I'm going to assume everything's tracking along okay, and see where we're at. The week number 6 for LDR 490, your leadership capstone. Hard to believe we're already 6 weeks into it. You've only got 2 weeks and you're done. So for most of you, now's not the time to start resting on your laurels. Buckle it down and finish strong. I certainly encourage you. You all are doing a good job. Some of you have got some work to turn in, and you know who you are on that. So I won't belabor the point. Don't get caught short. For all of you, don't get caught short. You've got a lot of work that needs to be turned in that last week because you'll turn in your chapter 5 and your final paper the same week. So all those things have to be done, and then we'll go from there. What you can look forward to on the screen, you should be seeing the Moodle page. Certainly, it's not changed any. Let's take a look at week 8. As I scroll down, you'll see it's the normal setup. You'll have the discussion forum. Now this one's fun. The discussion forum for week 8 is a fun question. Again, this is kind of throwing me off looking at my TV screen. Not sure why I've got such a delay, but I won't worry about that for right now. Okay. It asks you to pause, reflect, and explain. Going to be interested to see if you want to be a leader within your nonprofit or for-profit organization, and whether you're going to base that on a fact analysis or if you're going to go with gut instinct. So a lot of fun on that one. I always like to see what is what we have. So I have questions. Now it's the time to give your opinion. Analyze each company. This would be analyze Marriott and the Salvation Army, and the case study method. Okay, remember in LDR 340, you learn how to conduct case studies on a problem, a decision, or an evaluation. Right? So you're going to evaluate each organization. The good, the okay, and the ugly is what we call this question. Instead of the good, the bad, and the ugly, we'll just go with the okay. And remember, in an evaluation, the critical piece of this is what criteria you're going to select. Now, since we're doing an analysis of each company, and this is a leadership class, then the criteria you're going to be using is leadership principles, right? So in this analysis, we're not interested in what accounting methods they use or how well they market the product. Those would be accounting or marketing themed classes. Here, you're going to analyze each company from the leadership principles, and you pick 3 to 5. I don't care which 3 to 5. That's for you to pick. But walk me through it. So say, for example, you're going to evaluate both companies based on communication, team building skills, organization, and culture. Great, you got 4 right there. So you do your evaluation based on those, and then render the results of your analysis. In other words, what do you think? Are they well led? Or are they not? In fact, that would be the position statement. Okay. Marriott and Salvation Army are different in how they apply leadership principles or something along those lines. Okay? Does this make sense to you? I hope so. If you're finding that you're not scoring 100 on these, the first place to look is to see if you made those postings on other student threads. Okay, those right there will knock you down a good amount if we're not investing in that regard. You know, make it hard. You know, you're and then on the written side is how are decisions being made. In other words, what are some of the processes that each organization uses? Remember at LER 300, it talked to you about process of decision making. Okay, and in my classes, I tend to insert, for example, the decision making processes that the services use in their forces. We have numerous. We have the Marine Corps planning process. We have the military decision making process, predominantly Army. We have option generation, which is typical Navy. We have crisis action module planning, which is normally a joint organization of some sort, although it could be headed by a Marine, a sailor, an Air Forceman, you name it. They're not tied to any one service, and so they tend to have more and more joint flavors within their processes than perhaps a service school or a service school. And we'll figure out how that works out. Okay. In other words, if I have you running around the hills, looking at spots few and far between, obviously, I'm going to want to get you focused in on what decision making you're making, and where we think that that box gold, if you will, could possibly be located. If you're not making it, obviously, I've got three of us here in the original crew between Cook here and one other person, and this would be a framework where we would go in and utilize a system that that we know. And the reason I bring these individuals up is in the aspects of personalities. So if we have a system and it is effective and is a process, then we want to use that. If we tend to have some personalities get involved and those processes get unhinged a little bit, then we either need to smooth out the process or we need to remove the individual. Okay. And so sometimes what you'll find is that an organization hires a disruptor, to be quite frankly, just to shake up the organization, move it along. It could be seen that the last presidential election was an example of that, where someone not known for necessarily political activities, in the sense that he had never run for office before, it was so late in the game on this one that raised my eyebrows. He still won a presidency outright. And these are things that tend to happen. Abraham Lincoln did this in our Civil War history, or war between the states, however you look at it. And that is, there was a book out, the same author who wrote the screenplay for the ultimate movie, taking the stage play and moving it into a movie screen, starring Daniel Day-Lewis and Sally Field. Abraham Lincoln, it was called Team of Rivals. What Lincoln did was, in those days, remember when you elected a president, you only voted on a president. And so the man with the most votes tended to be, the popular guy, but did not necessarily win the presidency based on electoral college. And in those days, you didn't vote on a vice president candidate. In other words, the person that came in second in the overall electoral college wound up becoming the vice president. So imagine that in this day and age, where your incumbent president comes in to a very amazing job, and while he does, he's got somebody talking to him about making sure they understand um, how things work. All right. Anyway, some good stuff here. The military decision making process, Marine Corps planning process, all these are very similar. I'll give you a graphic when I respond to the question. You have what tomorrow to upload it. I'll probably work your discussion forum first, and then I'll move it out to written assignment. Okay. So let's say by Thursday, the written assignments I should have those graded, and you'll be able to see that before your Friday quiz. Okay, let's talk about that quiz, and then I'll get into the chapter. So your quizzes, quizzes, rivalry should not. In fact, I did that for purpose because some people that's all. So in this, and that shot, see if they. I don't see it, but I say it's there. All right. Well, heck. Okay. All right. So do me a favor. Take a look at gradebook. Your grades. Okay. Get to your portion of gradebook. And let's see. All right. Well, I'm going to hold it here for a second. So somebody would live, but I don't. Let's go into the gradebook and take a look real fast. Now, what we're looking for. Okay, so me, I come up next. On your twofold. All right. All right, let's go ahead and keep recording. So we look here and we see gradebook setup. What we want to do is get up to grader report. This one, gradebook setup will still work for you, depending. And then what I hope to find, okay, when all is said and done, is there should be 10 piles of stuff for us to go through. Okay. But what are those 10 piles? Well, obviously, this is a layout inspection for everybody that's assigned. So those layout inspections include piles of personal gear, 782 gear, socks, skivvies, shirts. Okay. And we have, a little hard for me to read my handwriting. So I don't know what to tell you here. Hmm. All right. Well, I'm not going to worry about it for right now, but here's where we're at. Take a look at the grade book. Go in and see where you either have a 0 or you're missing a grade. And if you're missing it or have a 0, if you're missing it, then obviously I missed it. Particularly if you know you've turned it in. So what I need you to do is let me know when you turn that in, what your intentions are. If it turns out that you want to get credit for that bridge that's due Friday, that needs to be opened by Friday, then I need to see that blueprint by Thursday at the latest. Okay. And we kind of got on a time crunch, and I'm going to go along with it. Okay. But I'm not really happy how this whole thing turned out because it unhinged a very important project for you. Okay. That ability to go through and say, based on these casualties, here's how many French we need to equip. Okay. So at that point, the French had almost nothing. It becomes a wicked problem, though, particularly when you have such a large peer adversary, even a near peer or a less peer will be a handful. Okay, the Chinese bring a lot of unique weapon systems to the flight, to the fight. All right. As you go in the grade book, again, if you see a 0 or you're missing a grade, and you and I have not talked about it, then we need to. Okay. Yeah, what's happened, and but you get that what taco that taco seasoning. Okay, taco. All right. So a lot of you got into turning in. Any questions for me so far? All right. Thank you, Father. And I pray, saying, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. On earth as it is this day our daily bread. Give us trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation. Deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, power, glory forever. Amen. All right, I'm going to sign this off. Hope you got a little bit out of it. If not, we'll catch you next week and maybe tighten it up a little bit. Again, the best advice I give all of you is where you're going to get caught short, and make sure you understand what's due and when. Okay, if you need to write down scrap paper and keep that in your vehicle as you're driving around or whatever it is. Okay, but you certainly want to try to keep this schedule. Okay, if it all fails, if you just cannot get to the residence, I'll try to remember to talk to the girls at the Mount Olive University quickly so that okay, I'm going to shut this down and hopefully everybody takes great care. Thanks for coming by.